not.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
You know what? Here, please have my plate of oysters as well.
Gee, you're going to fill me up before we get to the main
You
course.
can have all
And the
those
main
strange
course
foods.
is bowls.
Yes. What's the
Balls
other
from
one?
the bullfight.
Octopus is another one. I've seen people eat
I've
that.
had octopus too.
Oh, there's no way.
Octopus is good if it is prepared right. Again,
Yeah.
if they don't prepare it right, it's really rubbery. Really rubbery. It's like chewing on a rubber band. But if they prepare it right, it's really pretty good. The best octopus I ever had was in San Francisco at Chinatown.
1 minute until showtime.
Wow.
Facebook.
Yeah, we're on.
You were on?
This
Okay.
is
I was in Chinatown, and we went to a Chinese restaurant, obviously, in Chinatown. And we were about the only ones in there. It was this group of like 5 of us servicemen. We were in the Army. We were up to San Francisco. And we ordered octopus. We decided, none of us had tried it. We decided to try it. And it was little baby octopus, about 2 inches, something like that. And they had prepared it in a butter sauce, and they brought us this little sauce to dip it, and we dipped it into butter sauce, or in the sauce they brought us. It was prepared in butter. Oh my gosh, those were so good. They were really, really
Your
good.
show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, I better get back to.
This is All About Wine, the talk
All
show
About
dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world.
We really have had some neat people on the program. I love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. And now, All About Wine is on. Here's Ron.
Thank you. I'm excited. Have to keep moving to keep warm. We're having ourselves a cold spell here in Florida.
And this one's lasted a while. This has actually been around for a bit.
And it's going to be around, they're saying, for another 7 or 8 days, I think. Something like that. So. Yeah, that's not the reason. They need to get this warm here again, because baseball pitchers and catchers show up in like 2 weeks, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, and they don't like being out there in the cold weather, and so it's got to turn warm soon here. So I don't know. Yeah, pitchers and catchers usually show up right around Valentine's Day. So it needs to warm up for the boys of summer.
That's what I call it.
But it's been chilly here. It wasn't too bad yesterday. I went out and played golf yesterday, and actually it was pretty nice until the sun started to set. Actually, until the sun went behind the clouds and wind picked up, and it got pretty chilly there, right when we were finishing up the last couple of holes. But otherwise, it was a pleasant day out there. Then I worked Saturday, and it's supposed to be really nice Saturday, so I'll be outside doing that. So can't complain too much. It could be worse. We could be up getting high temperatures in the teens and the lows below freezing. So
I was watching on the news. I think did Las Vegas get snow? I saw a video.
Oh, yeah, they did.
I saw a video clip, and they said this is just outside, like facing west of Allegiant Stadium, I think it's called, and I thought I saw snow on the ground. I go, wait a minute, that's for a desert?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, they get snow in Las Vegas. Yeah. I know they do because I've been there one winter when it was snowing, and
wow.
They get some nasty weather through there too. They get snow, and they also get some horrible winds blowing through there, and some heavy rains that just come through and just dump 300 feet of rain, and then floods everything and moves on. And,
wow.
It's just it's really bad there. But they do get snow there. Which you never think too much about Las Vegas being snowed in or getting snow. They don't get a lot, I don't think. I never heard of it, but they do turn everything with a layer of white. So, okay. We have our guest. I guess it's Denise in the background. 415. It should be that area code. So we have chit-chatted long enough. Let's get. Our guest tonight is Denise Thornberry. She is co-owner of a place called the Tasting House, a little small place. I'm not going to tell you about it because, hey, it's her place. I'll let her tell you about it. So let's bring her on the show. And welcome to All About Wine, Denise. Glad you can join us.
Thank you so much, Ron. I'm really excited to be here and talk to you about wine.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. We've been having problems connecting here. Denise was going to be a guest on a couple of weeks ago, and something came up, and so we've bounced around and finally got her on. So that's good. I'm glad you're here. So, the Tasting House.
You want me to give you an idea? Yeah, I'll tell you all about it.
Tell us about it, and I want to hear how you got to the point where you decided to do something like the Tasting House too. So whatever you want to start with first, the journey or the Tasting House.
I'll start with a brief journey, and because that leads into how we got here, and opening a restaurant when I've never worked in a restaurant before or anything like that. So I work in Northern California. So Tasting House is in Northern California in Silicon Valley in a great little town called Los Gatos. And I was working in technology industry like many people here in Northern California. And after the pandemic, or close to the end of the pandemic, I just decided to take like an early retirement and really pursue my passion, which is wine. So that's kind of how it started. And prior to retiring and prior to the pandemic, my husband and I would travel for wine, and food. And we just started as people who enjoy food and wine, like lots of other people in the world.
Like my wife and I, when we travel, same thing.
Right. Yeah. And of course, living in California, it's just fantastic because you're just a couple of hours away from really great AVAs. So we live in Santa Cruz Mountains AVA. Which we love, and we're big fans of Santa Cruz Mountains wine, but, it's quick trips to Paso Robles, Napa Valley, Sonoma,
Livermore, don't forget Livermore.
That's right, Livermore, all of these great places. And so we just started taking these weekend trips to these different AVAs and learning. And we signed up with David Galancy at San Francisco Wine School to take some courses.
Oh.
Yeah. So we started taking courses at night, going to night school after work. And the more classes we took, the more we learned that we really had to take a lot more classes. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything.
You don't know, exactly.
Yeah, so we did that, and we started traveling outside of the U.S. To learn more, of course, to France. So, that's our like lots of other people, we love going to France and have been to a lot of the major wine regions there, and then Italy. And when, at the same time while we were traveling, we were continuing our education at San Francisco Wine School. And one of the courses we took was pairing food and wine. And we really enjoyed that course. And we bought books on the best food and wine pairings. And we read every page, and we highlighted the recommendations, and we started eating our food every single meal, pairing it with wine. And we realized that when we paired the right wine with the right food, it made the wine better, and it made the food better, and then it made our entire experience better. And we were like, this is so amazing. So for Christmas, we bought people, like friends, food and wine pairing book, and then we sent them the food. Like, we sent packages of like barbecue ribs with Zinfandel and the book, and we marked the page, right? And just like classic pairings like that, goat cheese and Sancerre. Like, we were Christmas gifting food and wine pairing. And everyone
can I get on your Christmas list?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just started living food and wine pairing, and then, of course, going to amazing restaurants. Again, very lucky to be in California, where we have great restaurants, and every single time doing the chef food and wine pairing, and it was amazing. It was also really expensive, and took a lot of time. And so we thought, so our idea is, how do we kind of bring food and wine pairing to regular people that, might be challenged to spend, $400 a dinner or $500 a dinner per person for food and wine pairing at a great restaurant. And we realized that, you can do fried chicken and champagne, and it's not $400, or you can do Zinfandel and barbecue ribs, or, this kind of thing. And it could be $50, or it could be $75.
Good, yes.
And it could be amazing. And so that's our idea. So it's our concept of just, we select our wine first. So we pick great wines that we love from all over the world. We do tend to lean French and California, but, of course, we have incredible Riesling, and because that's such a great food pairing wine, on the list. And we have 65 wines by the glass right now, and we also do wine by the half glass. So all of them are available by the glass and half glass, so that people can try. So if you want a salad or, some small plate to start with, you can have a half a glass of wine with a small plate, and then move to a completely different dish and a completely different wine for your entree or your next dish, however you want to eat, but you don't have to be committed to a full bottle of wine or a full glass of wine. So you can leave here tasting 4 different amazing wines, all by the half glass, with 3 or 4 different dishes, and have it's sort of like make your own, chef's pairing dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea.
That sounds great. What, okay, so you got the restaurant you're going. How did you find the building? Why did you choose Los Gatos? Why did you, who's your chef? Well, how did you get all this together?
Okay, I'll tell you. So, well, first I should probably mention this one other thing. Last May, so it hasn't even quite been a year yet, we used the space next door to us and opened a champagne bar, because we were, so my husband and I were not excited about champagne. We used to say to people, we like it, but we don't love it. And when we went to France visiting, I know, well, we were wrong. We didn't prioritize champagne. We kind of went to every other region And then said, finally, we're like, I guess we have to go to Champagne. Oh, my goodness. It was the best. So
Yes.
we learned incredible stuff about the history of the region, obviously the different soils, the areas, all the different styles of champagne. And so we opened a champagne bar. Right now we have 80 different bottles of champagne, and we're
80?
running
Wow.
80. We have a flight of all-female winemakers from Champagne. Right now we're doing a flight of 5 female winemakers, most of them organic, biodynamic. And
Wow.
our number one selling champagne is a Brut Nature. Yes,
That's amazing.
and we do a lot of half bottles, which is fantastic too, because I tell all these people, just have the half bottle together, that's a glass each, and then move on to your wine at dinner, right? So
Yes.
It's incredible. So we do that. So to go back to your question, we live nearby here in Silicon Valley, and unfortunately the space became available during the pandemic because, as you know, many restaurants just didn't make it.
Yeah, sad to say.
So, yes, it is really sad to say. And we knew the restaurateurs who were here previously in the space where we're located. We like them very much. We ate here, but they had 2 restaurants in the area, and they couldn't keep both going. So so it's a great opportunity for us. We're in a great little town. So, kind of everything was, the bones were here. And so we spent about 8 months remodeling. We've got kind of this bistro look to us. We lean, again, a little French. And then we started talking about what we're trying to accomplish here. And so many people who are into wine got excited. And so where this industry typically has a hard time acquiring talent, we have 10 sommeliers on our staff.
Wow.
Because we have people who want to work here who love wine, and who want to be in an environment that, everyone's kind of involved in the wine program, and we taste together, and, it's kind of just a fun place to be. And our chef is from New York originally, and then during the pandemic, he moved to Florida because he could work in Florida. And and so we moved him here to California. He was at Knife and Spoon in Florida and helped them attain a Michelin star. As
Wow.
He was the sous chef. So we brought him on board. He has a lot of wine knowledge. Our sous chef is also a sommelier, which helps a lot on our culinary team. And so, but we have a group of young, passionate people who love food and wine and really want to share it with other people. That's what we do.
Fantastic. A comment first and more questions. Champagne, you might, if you became a champagne fan or sparkling wine, you might check out English sparkling wine. They are really, really coming up strong on their sparkling wine. It's the market is it's amazing how good. If you can find any English champagne, by all means, try it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Do you have a favorite? We do have one. We have one.
No, do you?
And yeah. I'm gonna remember the name here in just a minute. But do you happen to have a favorite?
No, not particularly. I'm a sparkling wine, champagne, prosecco, whatever you want to refer to it as. But I like the sparkling wines, and it's one of the things I always talk about on the show here. I tell people, it's not just for special occasions. It's for just any time. You can really find a great pairing of champagnes or sparkling wines and food. So you dig it out and use it all the time. But no, I don't have any particular one that jumps out at me right now. I've tried quite a few different ones that I've always found very interesting and very good, but as far as one goes, no.
All right. Well, we got into it only because there was a 60 Minutes about it. I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes about it.
No,
but there
I
was
don't think I did.
Yeah, there was a 60 Minutes about the rise of sparkling wine coming out of England specifically, and mostly due to climate change.
Yeah, and that's really one of the main reasons why they're picking up so well, because it's become just the perfect climate for the for the grapes. And we saw on the show that some of the French houses are buying land buying this land so that they could continue to make champagne. So that's going to be fun. I wonder what they'll put on the bottle eventually. They'll be able to. I don't, it's not from France, so it can't be champagne. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That is an interesting dilemma, that they have there. So okay, you mentioned champagne, that you were really into it, and it's something that I'm always telling people to try the different ones, not everything, Cremant, champagnes and Proseccos, and just from everywhere. Check it out and do all of them. So back to the bistro. How many employees do you have?
We have about 40 employees.
40? Wow.
Yes. We have 40. Yeah.
How many tables do you have?
Oh my gosh, I should probably know that. I'm just going to go by table number right now. 51. Well, actually, we have less than 51 actually, because I just counted the bar seats. So we have about 35 tables.
That's still quite a bit. I expected something, I don't know why, but you think bistro, you think something smaller, and I was thinking something smaller. Yeah.
Most of our tables are 2-seaters. There's those little round bistro tables, so it's not too big.
Yeah, I was just for some reason I was expecting something, maybe 10, 15 tables and just a little small intimate place, but now you're actually a restaurant.
Yeah. And but we do have a baby grand piano that takes up, and we have live jazz every day.
Oh wow! Well, I looked up your menu and your website for the restaurant. And by the way, if I may say, you need to get the old. Let's see, where am I? I'm on it now. Let me go back and find that particular one. Extraordinary Wine Flight Experiences. You got 2 of them from last year that are still up there. And
I
was reading through it and getting all excited. Yeah, I was getting all excited, and I go, wait a minute, this is already passed. That's, you need to.
Yeah, we do most of those big sort of fancy things in the fall. It's harder to do it in January, February. We had this dry January thing happening, and
I never, you just now said that, and the reason I chuckled so much is because I never thought how that might affect restaurants and wine tastings everywhere, and your wine bars and stuff. But I suppose it would have some effect on it. So that's odd. Dry January. Okay. I noticed too that you have shipping and delivery. Is this just for the bottles, or are you taking your Christmas gift idea and moving it into the restaurant?
We have some Christmas gift idea moved to the restaurant. We have some categories that we do well with. So we have cheese. So we have refrigerators specifically designed for cheese, and so we usually have about 30 different cheese in the stock, and we negotiate with the dairy farmers and with the distributors to bring in cheeses from all over the world. We work hard not to have cheese that's commonly available, and for some of the small farmers, they just don't have enough quantity to supply a Whole Foods or a large supermarket chain. So their business is primarily, small kind of shops. So we do a good business with cheese, also caviar to go, and also accessories that support cheese and caviar. So we do really well with caviar servers. So it's kind of the gift to give to people who have everything. Most likely they don't have a caviar server.
Very true.
So we do well with the caviar servers, and we also sell these amazing cheese keepers. A young woman out of the New York area started a company, and she makes boxes out of like birch wood that are specifically made to store cheese, and in different sizes. And they she has a method to manage the humidity, and so we have the cheese keepers here as well. So we do very well with cheese, I guess, accessories maybe, and then caviar accessories, those kinds of things. So, because we have people here who, really love the wine and the food, and, they were always asking, oh, where can I get this caviar server that you're serving us in? And I'm like, well, now we have it. You can get it here. So very, very easy to do.
Just to mention to anyone out there listening, cheeses don't have to be refrigerated. There's a lot of them that you don't throw it in the refrigerator. You have your humidity controlled little boxes that are kept at different temperatures and stuff like that. So whenever somebody says we have these boxes, and I can just see people gasping and going, but it needs to be cold. No, it doesn't. So just to clarify
it doesn't. And and sometimes we serve right out of the box, because most cheeses need to be just a little bit cooler than room temperature. And she's made these beautiful boxes that were, that we could just serve right out of, which is kind of nice too. So, but it's fun. It's certainly a passion project. It's not a get rich quick kind of plan at all.
None of it is. Let's see, I just pulled up your map here. I lived in Concord, over the hill there for a number of, over Berkeley Hill, for a number of years. And so I'm quite familiar with the whole Bay Area there. And I was just pulled up the map to see where you were here. And, you're right off the interchange there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in a great location, I think, because we are Silicon Valley. Many of the tech companies are within 10 miles of us, but also we're very close to Santa Cruz, which is fun and great. So it's just like maybe 18 miles over the hill, over the Santa Cruz Mountains, actually, over to Santa Cruz.
That's what I just said, over the hill to Concord. It's.
Are you still in California?
No, I'm in Florida now. I lived in California for like 8 years, many years ago. It's been forever since I've lived there, but I still remember the whole area and all that. So for anyone out there who's curious where Los Gatos is, it's south and west of San Jose, and very easy to get to. Just Highway 1 takes you out of San Francisco south, and you can let's see, what, I'm trying to think, what is this street that's running next to you here? What is this interstate?
Highway 9 maybe, or Highway
9.
17? Oh, Highway 9, yeah.
9, yeah. So, it's really, really simple to get to for anyone who's curious about that. The wines, your wine list. Do you get the wines in? You and your husband get the wines in? Do you have it distributed to you? What is your process of getting all these different wines in and replenishing them when you get low? Or do you get new ones in? Do you always have a bunch of questions here, so you can answer them in any order you want? Do you run out of a wine and get that one in again, or do you run out of a wine and say, oh, sorry, we're out of it, we are now featuring these? And when they come in, who brings them in? And if you sell, say, a glass of a certain wine, what methods are you using to preserve that until again? And I know there's lots of different methods out there to do it, but I'm curious of what you're doing and all that. So there, a whole bunch of questions for you.
Okay. All right. Yes. A lot of questions, and the answer is kind of all of the above. So on the first question, regarding procuring the wine, we do it every which way. So when we travel and we taste and find wines that we think would work well with the food, with the chef, and what we're trying to accomplish at the tasting house, we procure the wines directly from winemakers and wineries, all over. Sometimes we buy them from distributors. I would say 80% of the time we're buying wine from distributors, and another probably 15% of the time we're buying wine from collectors. So, and there's a couple of different reasons. When you start a business, so we've only been open 2 years, and it's really, really challenging to have wines on your menu to offer your guests that have age, because most of the wineries and most of the distributors are selling the last vintage available. And they typically, at least the distributors, they don't sit on the inventory to age it. Right. That's just like sitting on money. So I've been working with collectors over the past 2 years to build a library of wines and to build, wines that have age. And that's expensive, right?
Yes.
And what's very challenging here in this area, which is it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, is people come in and they buy your library wines. So if we have, a 2009 Bordeaux, we might only have it for 6 weeks because it sells.
Okay.
And yeah, so we do really, really well with the library wines. So kind of the more we sell, of course, the more we get to buy, but it's always a challenge to procure them. But luckily, there's not a lot, but there are a handful of people out there who are good at selling library wines, and they can certify that they have been handled properly, that they've been temperature controlled, that the labels are in good shape, that they are authentic, all of the things that you need to pay attention to. And then, the strong collectors or the reputable collectors, are the ones you buy from because you can believe in the integrity of what they're selling. So that's fun. That's also, we don't get to taste those wines because you're not going to open it to taste it, right? So you're kind of like, oh my goodness, right? Like, we're just going to roll with it. And so, but it's fun, right? It's always fun to find something rare or interesting that, we have our case here of library wines that's temperature controlled, and daily people go up and take a photo of it, and take photos of the labels. So we love it because those are our people, right? They're really passionate about it. And then for wines that we have on the By the Glass list, most of our wines that are under $20 by the glass, we don't Coravan. We just open the bottle, and we're busy enough that the inventory sells, and the wine goes, sells. The over $25, we use Coravan. We Coravan the wine.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, and also champagne. We have the new Coravan for champagne, and we're using that for champagne. Yes, and some of the champagne stoppers are super. We can sometimes get a full day and a half to 2 days with those really, really good champagne stoppers. But other than that, we blind taste. So it's probably the most fun we have here at Tasting House, other than sharing things with our guests, is when the team gets together and we say, all right, guys, we really need, a really good Rhone lineup going into fall. And we'll blind taste on Rhones at different kind of price points and then select. And everybody votes, and it's secret, and you have to put your number 1 through 5. And then we reveal. We have those those black cloths that go over the wine bottles. And we reveal, and everyone is like, "Oh my gosh, I had that at number 3," and we talk it over, and we say, "Okay, we're going to put this on the By the Glass list." It's really great because first, it's so much fun. Secondly, it's a way to learn. I mean, we all learn oh my gosh, this wine is from the town next door. And, it's a $10, it's different, same vintage, and it's completely different, right? And so it's really cool to learn. And so we do that monthly with the whole team.
Oh, really?
That helps us select our wine list. We don't always have to replace wines, but if we, right now, we're working on Napa Cabernet. And so we're going to have our Napa Cab tasting in the next couple of weeks, blind, and then we'll select our Napa Cabs for the next 3 months.
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's fun.
Well, you say 3 months. You change every 3 months. You go through different cycles like that.
We do, unless we have a real winner that we just can't afford to live without. So, but we've only had that a couple of times. Like right now, we're serving a 2016 Bordeaux blend from Josephine de Boyd, Chateau de Boyd. It's called Josephine. And we had the 15. We had the 2015, and we loved it. And, of course, it was sold out. And so we were like, oh, my gosh. So we tasted the 16. We all like the 15 better, but we still thought the 16 was good enough by the glass. I think we have it on for $34 a glass, so 17 for the half glass, something like that. And it's Margaux. It's a 60% cab, so it's cab-led, of course, and it's a favorite, and it's a crowd favorite. So for, 8 months of last year, it was our number 1 selling wine by the glass, a Bordeaux blend in California, right? That's in units, not even in, revenue, in actual units sold.
That is amazing. Wow.
It's super fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. It sounds like, you say people, you're selling bottles of wine. Are you classified as a package store, or
yes? Yes, we have the license for both. Yeah, we have both licenses for on-premise and retail.
Okay, very good. The menu of food. Now we've talked about the wine. The menu of the food, is that again vote by committee menu, or does the chef say, I'm not going to make that, this is my meal? And how does that work?
So Ron, do you know a lot of chefs?
I've had my share I've met over the years, and that's why I said I'm not going to make that. This is my meal. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's no voting. No voting. There's no. Yeah. But he's fantastic, and we love him. He's super talented, and he's really young. Our chef with the Michelin accolades is only 29 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, he's really passionate, has a lot of energy, wants to try everything. So really, really great. And if you get out to Northern California, he does an uni risotto that he does, and I have nothing to do with, I don't know anything about food except how to eat it. But he does this uni risotto, and somehow he incorporates popcorn into the risotto and some popcorn and some bread, and then it's paired with a champagne, like kind of a very like yeasty like champagne, and it's just like so perfect because it's the like together, right? It's not the contrasting pairing. It's super fun, and and we love it. So that's a really, really good pairing. And then he does a short rib with a hoisin barbecue sauce, and then we have that with a Zinfandel, and that's just phenomenal. And he's doing a trout with like a grilled trout with a little bit of raw peanut sauce, and we're doing that right now with a Chardonnay. So we had it with a Paul Hobbs Chardonnay, and we sold out of Paul Hobbs Chard, and so we just moved to a local Barraquino Chardonnay, Old Vine Chardonnay. So we're excited.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's always good. Oh, wow. Well, so you leave him full reign on what he wants to do.
Yes.
Will he come to you and say, "I'm going to make a roast that is going to be spicy and all that, find a wine that goes with it"? Or does he say, "I'm going to make a roast, should we'd like to do this with it"? I mean, how does the process of that work?
So we start with a by the glass wine list, and we say we have 60 plus, 65 plus wines by the glass, because the list grows. It doesn't shrink, of course. So we say, here's the list, and these are things that we need to pair with it. We'd like you to prepare food or dishes that pair with these wines. Because it's such an extensive list, it's not really challenging. But funny enough, on the spicy, we do lean a little spicy sometimes, and it seems that the answer is always a Riesling. And every time we sit down, it's like, well, this is going to go with a Riesling.
Yeah. Or sometimes the Gewürztraminer will work too.
Yes. Yes, exactly. We have a Gewürz on the list right now, I'm pretty sure. So, but and of course a Riesling. But that it kind of goes back and forth. He'll say, "Oh, I really want to do this." And we'll say, "Well, what kind of wine is that going to go with?" Or we say, "Okay, these are the wines." Or we'll get something in new that we're really excited about. And he's part of the wine tasting team. He has to be. And we'll be excited about something. And then he'll say, "All right, I'm going to make this dish to go with it." Like we had, and it's not on the menu right now, which is something that he's working on putting it back on. I really want it. He did this incredible thing where he took a Chateauneuf de Pape that was made, one of the Chateauneuf that used like a lot of the grapes. I think that region allows something like 13 or 14 grape varietals, I think. And he used, he made a sauce using the flavors that are typically in a Chateauneuf de Pape, and over a duck, and it's amazing, and it was the perfect pairing, and so it's not on the menu right now, but it's coming back. But that was just like a marriage. That was like, we're loving this Chateauneuf de Pape that we have in. We need to have food, a dish that pairs with it, and he made this amazing dish. And he's just not happy with the duck he's getting right now, and he wants to perfect it, and he's going to bring it back.
Well, that's great that you have someone who is able to do that, and and embrace the challenges and come up with great results. That's fantastic on there. I'm looking at some of your pictures on here. It really is a nice place, quite large, and you've got quite a wall of wine setting back there in the back. I was
we do.
We take pictures of it. Yeah, but quite fascinating. Mike, do you have any questions?
I do
or
not.
Comments?
I do not at this time, but we're watching the social media as well. See if there's anything coming up on that. But I do not have any questions at this time. So thank you. I appreciate it. Just enjoying listening, taking notes.
Like you always do. Yeah. You a California native, or you come from somewhere else?
No, I'm from Florida.
Are you really?
Yes. It's so funny when you said you're in Florida. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's where I grew up.
What part of Florida?
South Florida.
South Florida, okay. Southeast or southwest?
Southeast Florida.
Oh, Miami
where
area.
are you? Yeah.
North of Tampa.
Okay, that's nice. I have family there.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's Newport Richey actually is a town, but north of Tampa. Completely, it's just like California. You have North California and Southern California is like two different states, and the same thing with Florida here. You've got the East Coast, Miami, and all that. Then you've got the West Coast here, and it's almost like two different states there. So it's different thoughts and different mindsets and everything for both Northern California and Northern Florida. So
yes, absolutely, I agree with you on that. Are there any places in that Tampa West Coast area that have a great wine list, or any?
Burns Steakhouse. Burns Steakhouse is always listed as one of the top in the country year after year after year from just about every list, Wine Spectator and Wine Enthusiast and all the others that make out lists. Burns Steakhouse is always on the list. And it's always fascinating to go to Burns because they have a great menu, but then after you have the menu, you can always do a tour of the cellar. They take you down there and take you to the cellar and point out the different wines and all that. And then they have another building if you get to know the people, or if you're, like I've had an opportunity to visit another building that they keep a lot more of the wines in, which is normally not open. And that is really fascinating too, because it's wines that they go over and buy directly from the wineries around the world and have them shipped directly to them. So they're not going through a middleman. They're not worried about how they're being treated and all that. They talk to the wineries and say, okay, we want, 4 cases of this, and it's shipped directly to them, which is sort of cool. But Burns they have a separate dessert area room that you go to an area in the restaurant. So you have your meal, and then afterwards you do the tour, and then you go into a separate dessert area, which is all very enjoyable, fanfare and all that stuff. And people just eat up on that, figuratively and literally.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. So I guess they get the table, so they have people waiting, they turn the table, and
exactly.
They move people to another place for dessert. That's a really good idea. I have not heard of that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more intimate in the dessert area. They've got it closed off. They got booths, but not just booths, but they've got walls behind the booths, separating the booths. So it's, you You can spend a little bit more time on your dessert if you want and all that, because only about half the people have dessert. I mean, how that works. And so it's a little bit more intimate, but it's very good. And then you get yourself a nice double layered cheesecake and get a Thornberry, and I'll slice it with it, or an ice wine, and it's a great way to finish up your whole meal. So
very nice. I'm glad I asked. That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's if you have the room, it would be a nice way to move people into another area and open up tables. Yeah, that's really what they do, because they get busy. Yeah. So,
all right, Ron, I'm getting ready for service over here. We open in 12 minutes.
I was just going to say I was going to let you go because it should be pretty close to time to get you going back to work here. So I really do appreciate you taking the time tonight, Denise, with us and talking and telling us all about that. Before you go, give us all the contact information and Facebook and emails and everything, so as people are traveling around the country and if they are out there in Northern California, they can check you out. So give us all that.
Okay, I will. Thanks. So we're the Tasting House, and so our website is tastinghouse.com, and we're on Instagram at tasting.house, and we're on Facebook at Tasting House also. So it's pretty easy. It's just Tasting House. And like you said, if you go to our website, it can direct you to all of our social media, reservations, wine shop, menu, all those kinds of things are available directly on the website.
Do you recommend reservations at any day of the week?
Yes, Friday and Saturday we get very, very busy, and so I would say Friday and Saturday reservations are required. During the week, I would recommend them, but we're very busy on the weekends.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll let you get yourself ready to start meeting the maddening crowds coming in. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us tonight. Very interesting. And next time I'm out in California, I will definitely be making a trip down to Los Gatos and checking out the Tasting House.
Yeah, thank you
oh,
very
my
much.
goodness. We would love to welcome you, and we'd love to have champagne with you and wine and everything else. So I look forward to meeting you, Ron.
It's going to have to be a faster trip than I was planning on with all that invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Be safe.
Have a good evening.
You too now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Oh, there they are. A little delay there. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I was looking at the pictures of that place. That's much bigger than I really expected. I don't know why, but bistro, I always picture little small bistros, and I don't picture bistros this big.
Yeah.
I mean, this maybe I'm wrong in assuming that bistros are small, but I've always pictured them as being small. And when I was looking at a picture of that thing, and that is really quite large. I mean, 35, 40 tables, and a big bar and stuff like that. So, and it's really quite a bit there. So, and they've been open for a couple of years, she said already. So, or 3 years, and so let's give them the best of luck and hope they continue to thrive. And
yeah, absolutely. Very interesting.
What they're doing there. I've got about 8 minutes. I'm going to talk about something here.
Sure.
Excuse me. Before we go, I found an article that I thought was really quite interesting. Let me find it here. I'm looking through I got so many open. Oh, there it is. I got so many open tabs that I do. The Southern Glacier, I've mentioned them before. Southern Glacier is a distribution company. They are the biggest distributors of alcohol, beer, and spirits, or wine, beer, and spirits in the country. They have offices everywhere. They're originally from southern Florida, down in Miami area, but they have offices everywhere. San Francisco, they have a big office. Well, this article I found is out of the San Francisco Chronicle, and the headline says, this company controls much of the alcohol industry. Can a lawsuit and a feds break its grip? And this was interesting because it is being sued. Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits is enormous. Get an idea of how big it is. The 10th largest privately owned company in the United States. Wow. So that just gives you an idea of how big it is. A distributor basically is the middleman. And it's not just in wine. You hear me talk about it in wine all the time. It's not just in wine. It's also in beer and whiskeys and stuff. And Southern Glazers are the only distributors of Grey Goose and Smirnoff, Bacardi and Jameson and Patron and Josh Cellars and Meiomi. And, I can go on and on. They have pretty big wrap up on everything, and they're nationwide. They are enormous, but they are being sued. Now, let me read you this paragraph here instead of trying to transpose this, sum it up. Critics of the Southern Glazers have long argued that it's too large and powerful for the good of the industry. But now the company is facing a level of heat that appears unprecedented. The Biden administration has raised concerns about its dominance in the market. The Federal Trade Commission has said it's investigating the company for possible violations of a federal law. The Internal Revenue Service and the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau descended on one of the company's Bay Area offices in what they describe as official activity. So they are also involved in an antitrust lawsuit, along with the feds, if you will, getting involved with them. And this antitrust lawsuit is saying that they are, well, actually they're bullying their competition. The co-founder and CEO of Pravi, which is a wine company, Pravi has brought the lawsuit against them, and Southern Glazers did not respond to any questions about this, so there's no comments from them. But Pravi is an online platform connecting alcohol suppliers, distributors, and retailers. Okay, now I've mentioned before, this country, you cannot be a supplier and a distributor and a retailer. You have to be a supplier and distributor, or a distributor and a retailer, or a supplier and a retailer, but you can't hold all three licenses. Pravi is able to, since they are not really selling, they are able to be a middleman to provide these services to alcohol suppliers and distributors and retailers getting connected. But and they've been ordering from different distributors, including Southern Glazier and Republic National is another one, the second biggest one in the country. So Pravi's been ordering from them. But between 2016 and 2021, Southern Glazers has fulfilled more than 120,000 orders through Pravi, worth about $200 million. But Pravi alleges in the lawsuit that Southern Glazers and its competitor, Republic National Distributing, which is the closest, began to boycott Pravi. And they created an online marketplace similar to Pravi's one, that forced the customers to use those proprietary platforms instead of using Provi. So they pretty much knocked Provi out, which, I mean, could destroy Provi. They even blocked the emails from Provi to these different stores and places that they were. And, I don't like Southern Glacier. I'm sorry. I've personally dealt with them. I have known big wigs in the company down in Miami. I've had a chance to meet them and shake hands with them, and they're nice people, but I just don't like the way they do business. They're bullies. They really are, the big boy on the block, and they feel they can do anything they want, and I don't like Southern Glacier. And, in Republic National Distributing, I've never really dealt with them, but I can't help but picture them being the same as Southern Glaciers. But they pretty much blocked Provi, or Provi, maybe Provi, may pronounce Provi, out of doing business. So, and the thing is, Southern Glacier and National, or Republic National, actually, it used to be National Distributing and Republic Distributing, and I think they have National, I think, bought out Republic, or Republic bought out National. I'm not sure. They were two different ones years ago, and I think they're joined together now. But all of them carry the major brands. What Southern doesn't carry, then Republic National does, and that pretty much covers the entire market. So when they both start stopping you from doing your job, then it leaves you nothing. Obviously, both Southern Glaciers and Republic National have denied all the allegations, and they said that it's a dumb motion or a dumb lawsuit, and they filed a motion to dismiss it. And so it's expected to be ruled on sometime this month. And it's being ruled on by the U.S. District Court in the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division. That's where the thing is going down there, where it's being processed. But Southern Glacier is not really worried. They've been through lawsuits before. They had a pay-to-play scheme going in Pennsylvania where you had to pay to get your spirits. They ended up paying a $5 million fine on that. They also processed fake orders in order to drive up sales numbers. That was dismissed, although I'm sure they did it. And they've also charged customers higher late payment fees than was legal, which they ended up paying a $5.5 million settlement for that. So they are not squeaky clean. I know that. So this lawsuit, though, by lawyers who are not involved in the case, say that it is very well written and well funded, because Provi's has some very good lawyers and they know what they're doing. And so this should be one that would not be dismissed and will continue going on, and they'll see what happens. It says last year they opened up an investigation into Southern Glaciers for violating the Robinson-Patman Act, which prohibits discriminatory pricing, which basically states, it's a 1936 law, basically states you cannot give a deal to one liquor store and not give it to another. If you're a distributor, you have to treat everyone equal. And, Southern Glaciers treats them equal, but it treats them all like caca. They really do. Small chains and stuff like that is horrible. And, they work well with bigger companies. Total Wines has been part of their favorites for a long time, and now they're under investigation also, being sued by the commission Regulatory Commission for, or the Federal Trade Commission for basically the same stuff, for records and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The investigation is really the president's look to increase competition in various industries. He's been doing this off and on since he's been in office. And in 2021, he issued an executive order on competitiveness. And it may just affect Southern Glacier and National Republic, or Republic National, and all these. It might make them break up. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's an interesting thing here. It's about time Southern Glaciers really faces more than just $5 million fines. And, that's a drop in the bucket to them. It really is. They're not, $5 million here. Let me see if I've got it in my wallet. I mean, that's just about the way these executives are. When I met the bigwigs of Southern Glacier, it was like they were nice guys. They good old boys, and they were nice guys. But you can tell that nothing bothered them. Just the demeanor. So, but it's an ongoing story here. But I wanted to share that with you because Southern Glaciers is one of the culprits of the continuing 3-tier system that I am not a big fan of. So there you go. I want to tell you all about that because that just came out a couple of days ago.
Oh.
Let's see, what is today? Today's Thursday. Yeah, that came out Monday. I read that. So
we'll see what happens. What's going on?
Yes, we will.
All right. Next week, I don't know if we have a guest or not. Is February the 8th, I think. Yeah, February 8th.
I don't think so, but okay. I don't know. I mean, I've still got emails out, and people are. I'm corresponding with a couple of them, and they're trying to. It's just like Denise we had on tonight. She was scheduled for a couple of weeks ago, and then she canceled. She was going to be on previous to that. We couldn't find a good date, and then. And this is the way it is whenever I'm trying to book people. It's, this is good. Okay, I got you penciled in. And I always say penciled in because I don't want to put it in ink because I may have to erase it.
Make a chance. Well, it's good. She got on and did a good show. And by now, the place has been open for about 5 minutes. So...
and they probably have all the seats full and people are ordering food.
Right. All right. Well, we will return next Thursday on February the 8th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Blog Talk Radio and other places, wherever you see the sign. It's wherever the sign is lit, that's where we'll be.
Wherever the sign is, that's us. Yes. Or you can punch it in on any type of search engine, and we just may pop up.
That's right. Surprise everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in,
really.
And have a great weekend. Be safe and be warm if you're into that. And we'll talk to y'all next Thursday. Have a good weekend and a good week ahead.
See you next Thursday. Thanks for listening, and have a safe week.
Yes, thank you.
This concludes tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archived shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.
We've got